Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year again. That's right, a brand new Call of Duty has released. Over the past couple of days, I streamed my entire playthrough of the campaign for Black Ops 6, and now I want to give my review of it here while it's still fresh in my memory. And if you are curious, I will not be going over any narrative spoilers. I will strictly be talking about gameplay and mission design and the different mechanics within the campaign. So if you were worried about story spoilers, rest assured you will be fine watching this video. Now, Call of Duty campaigns are kind of a hit or miss. Last year's campaign was absolutely horrible. Modern Warfare 3's campaign was probably the worst one in the entire franchise, if I'm being honest. And I'm someone who actually likes playing the COD campaigns every year. And even I said that the Modern Warfare 3 campaign was terrible. However, I am very happy to say that Black Ops 6's campaign does not follow suit with that. This campaign is a banger. And I'm going to go ahead and say with utmost confidence that it's the best campaign in the modern COD era, let's say from 2019 onwards. If I had to summarize it in one sentence, it takes what Cold War's campaign did well and just expands on it even further. For example, Cold War had a safe house where you launched missions from, and you could kind of walk around and explore the area, and there was a very small Easter egg that you could do to unlock a gate that led to an arcade cabinet with those arcade games you could play. Well, this time around, the safe house is much bigger. It reminds me a lot of the Hitman Freelancer safe house in its design. And there are 3 separate upgrades that you can do in the safe house that each give you different upgrade paths that you could spend cash on to upgrade your character. So things like carrying an extra magazine, for example, or increasing your max health, increasing your maximum armor, or reducing flinch from getting shot. They are very small upgrades, but they actually do make a difference because the enemies hit surprisingly hard in this game, even playing on just regular difficulty. I died quite a few times. Now, that could have been because I was trying to save my cash for the weapon blueprints for multiplayer that cost $3,000 each, so I wasn't really doing any upgrading until way later in the game. And you get the cash for those upgrades by finding money laying around on missions. There'll be areas where you'll just find $200, for instance, laying around in some spot. The elite enemies, when you kill them, also drop money. And most importantly, the missions have these optional safes that you can unlock that once you find the combination, these give you $1,000 each, which is a massive boost to your money. The safe house also has a much more fleshed out Easter egg that you can solve, and the puzzle was overall pretty fun and actually kind of spooky, but I'm not going to say anything more about that. Just know that it's much more advanced than Cold War's Easter egg puzzle in the safe house. This campaign is on the longer side compared to every other COD campaign, and the reason for that, I think, is partially because there's a lot of stealth sections in this game, where you have to kind of plan out your actions as opposed to just going through a linear level shooting everyone until you get to the very end. Of course, those levels do exist as well, but I want to say this one has the most amount of stealth sections in any COD campaign that I've played, which is basically all of them. Open combat missions make a return, and I know that phrase open combat mission just makes everyone flinch because of how bad Modern Warfare 3's open combat missions were, but most of the open missions here are not even close to the same level as the ones in MW3. If you remember, Cold War had the mission where you were sneaking around in the KGB headquarters and you were given a few different ways to approach your objectives. It was by far the best mission in Cold War's campaign. Well, Black Ops 6 has like 4 missions of that caliber where you're just thrown into this big location and you have a few different ways to approach your objectives. So let me give you guys an example. There's one mission where you're in Vorkuta and you have to sabotage these 3 objectives, 2 of them being a high-end helicopter and a SAM site. Now, you can do the obvious way of just planting explosives on each place and then just take them offline by force by blowing them up, or you can do them in creative ways like finding water to fill the helicopter's fuel tank, or replacing the SAM site missiles with dud rockets, or you can do what I did, which I think is the coolest one. You can reprogram the SAM site to shoot down their own aircraft instead of yours, and doing that way completes 2 objectives at once. It sabotages both the helicopter and the SAM site at the same time. And then when the time comes, when their helicopter gets into the air, you actually see the SAM site shoot down their own helicopter in the midst of battle, and it was just really funny. And like I said, there are multiple missions like this throughout the campaign. There's also a surprising amount of puzzles, which also contributes to the longer runtime. And I do have reason to believe that there are some Resident Evil fans on the dev team, or at least some survival horror fans on the dev team, because some of the puzzles that you'll run into on these missions are puzzles that you typically see in a game of that genre, or even some mission elements themselves are very reminiscent of aspects from horror games. But that's as far as I'll go with that statement. I'll let you play the game for yourself to see exactly what I'm talking about. When you think of COD campaigns, you typically think of insane, bombastic, cinematic set pieces, things blowing up, chaos ensuing. And this one definitely has those moments, but this campaign in particular almost feels like you're playing through a spy thriller at times with the gadgets you use throughout the missions. There's even scenes where you get heavy Casino Royale vibes, which, by the way, the casino level is just gorgeous. The amount of detail put into this architectural design in this level is incredible. This is probably my favorite mission in the entire campaign. In terms of gameplay, there are new armored enemy types. There's your typical sniper, juggernaut with a minigun. But then there's the electric trap dudes, the RC car guys, flame shotgunners, and the riot shield enemies, which brought back memories from my days playing The Division. That game had a lot of these enemy types, and yes, they will mess you up if you don't focus them. However, you yourself also have a lot of tools at your disposal to get rid of them because of the new equipment wheel. And on this equipment wheel are things like RC cars, flashbangs, frag grenades, disruptor mines, homing knives. As you go through each of the levels, you'll congregate as much of the stuff as possible, and then you can use them whenever you want. And a lot of these elite enemy types you can counter with these different types of equipment. My favorite one by far was the homing knife though. It's like a mini predator missile in a knife form. You charge it and you throw it into the air and you can control where it lands. It's just really cool. And I really wish we had this as a kill streak in the multiplayer. We have a rocket that works essentially the same exact way, but not the homing knife. Come on now. Hopefully they do add it in a later update. Now I want to get into some of the things that I disliked about the campaign. And really there isn't a whole lot that I didn't like. But remember how I said that most of the combat missions were great? Well, one of them takes place in the desert, and you have all these different objectives that you can go to on the map, and you can drive to each objective with your crew in the vehicle. This one, I think, overstayed its welcome, and just became a tad bit tedious towards the end of it. And the reason this mission didn't really land well for me is because not only is it just tedious, you're doing the same objectives multiple times within the mission, but just the location itself, it's a mostly barren, open desert with not much to look at. It makes it very bland, especially compared to some of the other beautifully crafted locations we get to visit in this campaign. I will say it's not as bad as Modern Warfare 3's open combat missions though. It's better than those for sure, but it's still the worst mission in the game in my opinion. And my other complaint is technical issues. My game crashed I think 3 times in total playing the campaign, and those crashes all took place during between mission cutscenes. So when I launched the game back up, the cutscene basically skipped and I was already on to the next mission, so I couldn't get the full story behind what was going on there. It didn't really impact my experience majorly, but I still want to include it because it was an issue that I ran into. All in all, I give this COD campaign a 9 out of 10. I thought it was very well put together, and if you have Game Pass, I would highly recommend giving this a play. Even if you don't like the COD multiplayer, I think it's still worth playing the campaign, especially since it's free with Game Pass if you have it. Let me know what you guys thought about the campaign if you did have a chance to play it yourself down in the comments. Do you agree with my take? And if you enjoyed the video or find it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day. Where's the RPG guy even at? I don't even see him. Oh shit! Oh my god, that killed me! Bro! Friendly fire!